today we're going to be filling in our February temperatures for our daily stitching project. So the DMC floss color that we use will correspond with whatever temperature it was that day. This is my Sunday chill stitching session, and I hope that you are enjoying your Sunday projects too. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Sunday Stitches. I'm Lauren, the quilter and fiber artist behind Garden Girl Studio, and today we're going to be filling in our February temperatures for our daily stitching project. If you're new to this project, never fear, it's really quick and easy to catch up. So far we filled in all of January's temperatures. Basically we fill in a dash a day to correspond with the average daily temperature, and then a corresponding floral to kind of highlight the temperatures, aka the colors, the floss colors that we used for that month. So each day we're going to be stitching in a dash to correspond with the average temperature. So the DMC floss color that we use will correspond with whatever temperature it was that day. And then we fill in one floral a month based on what colors we used throughout that month to kind of give a summary of the colors and the temperatures that we experienced that month. And as always with our Sunday stitches, this is a super casual stitching hangout. I will be talking through what I'm working on step by step, but feel free to make this project your own. Also, feel free to grab like a cup of tea, coffee, something warm and cozy. I personally have my fuzzy socks on. This is my Sunday chill stitching session, and I hope that you are enjoying your Sunday projects too. And it doesn't have to be stitching. If you're working on other projects, let me know what you're working on in the comments below. If you're ready to hang out and start stitching, I'm gonna go on ahead and jump in to our February temperatures. I will share the link where you can download both the template and the temperature color key in the description below so that you can join us if you're getting started with this project. Okay, so to get started, I've already collected the average temperatures for my area here in New York. The temperatures were a little bit higher than they normally are, but that's okay. We are gonna stitch them as they are. So it looks like I have 4 mauve pink colors. So the mauve pink is the 316, which is this color. I have to take 4 dashes of that. We're gonna do 6 lavender dashes, which is 153, which is this color here. I have 12 dark blue, which the dark blue is 161. So we had 12 days within that temperature range. And for my light blue, 160, we had 7 days within that temperature range. So these are the 4 colors we're going to be using. And I'm going to kind of keep this here so that I don't lose track of what stitches we've done and which ones we haven't done. I'm going to keep it at least nearby. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, I kind of want to work my way down throughout the year, but at some point we might have to kind of go in groups. Honestly, however you want to, if you want to go just like straight across, however you want to fill in your dashes, it's totally okay. It's totally up to you. I am going to just kind of probably start in this section and then we'll see if we kind of move over. I am going to not worry too much about day-to-day temperatures, like as they fluctuated. So like 36 and 35 and 30, you know, lavender, and then I have to do, you know, 5 or 6 dark blues. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to thread my lavender color and I'm going to kind of intersperse them, and maybe I'll leave a few gaps, but because our lavender will already be threaded, I don't want to stop and unthread it and then rethread it. So yeah, we're going to just go ahead and stitch away. Now I don't need a ton of floss because we only have to take 6 stitches. So I'm just going to cut a little strand here. I am going to use all 6 because I'm finding that with the dashes, it really pops when we're using all 6 strands. So I'm going to go ahead and use all 6 strands if you're following along. And if you're not, if you're making this your own, let me know what's working for you with your project. I would love to hear if this is panning out the way that you want. If you're trying a slightly different technique, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we have 6. So I've got 1 dash, 2, do this one over here, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I am not counting specifically, again, how many days were at each color. I'm just kind of spacing them out based on roughly how they landed through the month. Next, we have our dark blue, which is 161, and there's going to be 12 dashes of this. And you can see I finally put our floss on spools so they'd be a little bit easier to work with. It was about time. They definitely needed it. It's going to make our project go faster. So before I had the floss just freely open in skeins, and sometimes pulling out of skeins of floss can be a little bit tricky. So I definitely am happy that I put them onto spools. So we need 12 dark blue dashes, and it looks like there are 5 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the rest seem to be pretty scattered, so we're just going to scatter in the last 7. So 6, 7, it's right here. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so we have 12 dark blue dashes. Okay, let's do our mauve pink next. Okay, so I'm going to fill in this one right here. 1, 2 toward the beginning of the month. And we'll jump over to the other side because I know that there were 2 toward the end of the month. So we'll fill in right up here. 1 and 2. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we've got to fill in our light blue, and there are 7 days within the light blue temperature range. So we need 7 stitches for light blue. Mostly our light blue was like the middle and end of the month, so we'll just fill in the spaces in between. We need 7 total. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 more 7 right at the end of the month. Okay, so now we have our January and our February dashes all filled in. Next up, we're going to fill in our rosette. Okay, so for our florals, we use the same colors that we used in our monthly temps to fill in our florals. And this month we have our mauve pink, our lavender, our light blue, and our dark blue. So what I want to do is I want to do a similar like ombre effect, but to this rose, but I want to use a satin stitch. So each petal is going to be a different color satin stitch. And I'm going to start dark in the center, and we're going to work our way out to the lavender and then the pink. So I'm going to start with this 161, and I'm going to do the 3 petals in the center, and then we're going to slowly work our way out from the rose. So I'm starting right in the center of the petal, and then I'm going to just kind of ease my way. And this, just going to slowly, I want to work slowly on this. Sometimes I rush my projects and I deeply regret it afterwards. So we're going to just move slow on this one because I think it's going to come out really nice if we just kind of take our time on it. And these petals are quite small in the center, and I want to do them justice. So okay, there we go. And sometimes if you're working with a satin stitch and your petal is wider on the outside, you can kind of undercut it in the center, kind of come back to the center a bit. That'll help give it a little bit more of a rounded petal sort of look. And there we go. So we'll see how this comes out. I haven't tested to see what this would look like, but I have a strong suspicion that it's going to come out pretty. So how was everyone's February? What was your favorite February moment? Did you have any good events, or did you make anything really cool or stitch up anything really cool? Tell me about it in the comments below. I want to hear all about it. I personally have a very strong connection to February because it's my birthday month. So I love February. It's one of my favorite months of the year. I don't usually do a ton for my birthday, but there we go. Got that first petal in. Now I want to kind of change my angle a little bit for this other petal so they don't just kind of blend together. I think we're going to do that. So let's attempt it. So anyway, February is my birthday month. Yay. It was probably one of my better birthdays that I've had in years. And it's not because we had like a big party or anything crazy. It just was a really nice day. My husband brought me out to just do a few of my favorite things. Maybe I'll try to show a few clips here while we're stitching each of these petals. But we went to the bookstore and like our local bookshop and got a new book, and he even found a book that like he's excited to read. Like he's not a huge reader, so that was kind of cool. We kind of bonded over that. So I went to my favorite cafe and art gallery where I sell a lot of my fiber art projects and where I teach local workshops, and I had a cup of tea. I tried this new oolong tea, and they had these puff pastries that were just absolutely delicious. It was so good. And what else did we do? Oh, we went to a local flower shop that I used to work at, and we got a couple plants. I got a couple plant babies. So you can see this one was even flowering. I'm going to show you quick because it's cute. Look how it's flowering. Anyways, I got a few new succulents because my succulents, I had basically, they did not make it. So I needed to restock. I've got a couple little pots over here. So maybe if you want, I can show you a video of that. For those of you who don't know, the reason why I'm Garden Girl Studio is because plants are my jam. I love plants. So, okay, we're going to kind of come back to the center again. Well, really to the edge. I think it'll look better if I just go to the edge of that one. So then they'll be a little bit more distinctive. Anyways, I got a few new plant babies, so I've got to get those potted up and planted. I might do a video on that for funsies, like a daily vloggy. I'm going to just be planting plants. So if you're a plant lover, let me know. If you have any plants in your studio or your workspace, love to hear all about them. I love plants. I even love foliage plants. I love flowers and all the things. And then my husband and I don't go out to dinner very often, but we went out to dinner and we had a really good meal. We had this like burrata garlic bread appetizer, and then just a really nice like Italian pasta kind of dinner. It was just overall just like a really nice day. There we go. I'm just going to put another stitch or two here because I think it'll look nice. One more, I think. And then I think I'm going to change over to the light blue. I might come back to this dark blue, but for right now, I think I'm going to transition, I think, to the light blue. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to tie that off on the back. So the center of our rosette's done. Okay, so I'm using 3 strands, and we're going to start working on the next set of petals coming out. Here we go. I'm going to kind of come down here. Okay, so we're going to start up again. And I'm going to do this little leaf right here. I'm just going to kind of slowly be working my way out on this project. Yeah, so unlike a traditional satin stitch, I'm definitely working my way toward the center of these petals rather than keeping everything perfectly parallel, and I think I'm liking it for the look of each petal. It's a little dense in the center, but that's okay. Okay, I think I'm going to do one more of the blue right here. And then we're going to switch over to lavender. And remember, if you're working on this project, you don't have to do this all in one day. We have a whole month before we can do March's colors, so you can chip away at this little by little. So if you want to, like, you know, just work on a little bit at a time, that's totally okay. I choose to work on it in a single day, and just, this is my project. But feel free to chip away at this, and it might be a little bit less work, a little less overwhelming. I don't know if you're feeling those vibes. This is one of the more intensive flowers. These bigger rosettes take a little bit more time. But I want to show you how I'm going through it first so that, you know, down the road, if you want to do another one, you can see at least the technique that I'm using, you know, as we progress through the year. I like starting in the center of the petal. It kind of gives me a good direction to flow. Okay, so spring is coming up soon. I do have a container gardening class all about how to source inspiration from planters, container gardens. It's available on Skillshare. I'm going to be working on getting it up on my own website too, so that if you don't have a Skillshare membership, or if Skillshare is just not your jam, you can source it directly through me on my website. But I love in the springtime, and I'm like starting to get excited about it. I know that it's still technically, you know, early March. We still, here in New York anyway, have a ways to go before like spring really lands. But I really get excited about like what colors I might be excited to use this year. You can source colors, textures, just ideas for your artwork from container gardens. And container gardens are nice because if you don't have a lot of space for like a full-size garden, you can just have a pot full of plants that you can use to gather inspiration all season long. I do teach about it. I did go to school for plant sciences, horticulture. So I have a lot of experience. Some of you already know, I worked many years in local greenhouse and flower shop. And so I'm happy to share some of that knowledge with you. I've got a couple of markets coming up in March. I'm excited. There's an International Women's Day market and then like a punk rock market, which I think is kind of cool. I know like punk rock is not like my aesthetic, if you will, but I was told by the organizer that it is to celebrate small business owners, and small business owners are my aesthetic because I am a small business owner. So I'm really excited to get ready for those markets. I've got to get some stitching done. I'm also working on, and it's still a work in progress, we'll see how it comes out, where my mom and I have been working on making some samples to figure out we're modifying patterns, but to figure out what's going to work best. We're currently creating some pouches, which would be great for storing like art supplies, sewing supplies, and or like a makeup bag, cosmetic bag, but like these pouches that I think would be really cool. And I'm trying to use some of my fabric designs because I design fabric on spoon flower. And I think that it would just be a fun product to have for these markets. So we're working on those. So over the next couple of weeks, you might see me working on some bags and some things. And that's why, because we've got some markets coming up and we're trying out some new products to see what's going to sell. Last year I had made some table runners and placemats, and the table runners have been popular at some of the markets, depending on like which city I'm in and like the theme. But the placemats really haven't moved at all. And so I'd love to use some of that quilted material to make some bags. So we might try a few different styles to see if anyone would enjoy them. As I work with my long arm. I'm a long arm quilter. And so I have a lot of quilted things. Okay, 2 petals done. Let's do this petal over here. I think I want to do both of these. We're going to do this petal next. So, and as a long armer, my long arm is not, it's a computerized machine, but it's not pre-programmed with designs. I hand guide all of the stitching on there. So even if I'm following a pantograph, I'm following a little laser light that's following a piece of, like a line on a piece of paper with the design. But for all of the table runners that I made, all the placemats, that's all like free motion or a little bit of ruler work. I have some like fun arches and line work in there. But it's all hand guided. It's not like pre-programmed. So I'm basically drawing with a sewing machine. If you're interested in seeing some long arm work, I don't typically film my customer projects. And long arming is a big part of my small business. But I don't typically film my customer projects because a lot of times they're gifts or memorial quilts, or they are getting ready to go into a show. And I don't want to like spoil my customer's surprise if it's going into a show. Like I don't want to be responsible for taking away some of like, I don't know, their surprise for you know, what they've made to enter the competition. So I tend not to film a lot of my long arming, but if you'd like to see some more long arming projects, let me know. I'd be happy to share that side of my business with you as well. So if we have quilters here or anyone interested in long arming in general, let me know. I'd love to chat. I'd love to show you some of those behind the scenes. I know I shared a few videos early on, some vlogs of my day in the studio when I was working on some of the placemats and table runners, but it's been a while since I've shown the quilting studio. So if you want to see that, then let me know and I'll try to make up some footage for you so you can see what that part of my business looks like. Okay. Let's see what it looks like with the pink. I might wind up winding a little bit of lavender through the blue, but let's see what it looks like with the mauve pink first on the edges, and then we'll decide whether we want to blend a little bit. Let's start with the big ones. Get out of the way. So we'll start with this guy. So that's kind of like a rosette, but this reminds me of a begonia, and some begonias have multicolored like petals. Like, I love tuberous begonias. I just think they're so pretty, super pretty. And that's what this style of flower kind of reminds me of. Okay, so I just want to break up this blue a little bit, so I'm going to run just a few, I'm going to try running a few just lavender strokes kind of through the blue, and we'll see if we like it. Yeah, I think we will. Just a few here and there. I'm not going to do too many. I know it's subtle, but I think it's going to actually break this up. And it's going to make the colors look just a little bit more cohesive. We're going to try it. It's a separate strand, so we can always just take it back out again if we don't love it. And we'll blend out the strands a bit too, just so that they kind of melt in there a touch. Yeah. Here we go. And we're just going to blend out a bit. Yeah, I like that. It's a little bit more blended. Beautiful. Yay, we did it! We finished our floral and all of the dashes for the month of February. I have a whole playlist if you want to follow along on the progress for this project. I come out with one video for this project every month based on the temperatures, and every Sunday I drop a new video based on what I'm stitching up that week for us to hang out to, or sometimes it's a tutorial or an artist vlog. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. I would appreciate it so, so much, and I cannot wait to see what we create next time. Happy stitching, friends!